G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the A-hole. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to bloody sit back, relax, chug a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good content. Thank you. Posted by user Incompetent Potate, titled, Am I the A-hole for telling my roommate's girlfriend that she's not woke if she's wrong? So husband, 28 male, and I, 25 female, are ethnically Chinese from a Southeast Asian country living overseas. We rent a house with significant other's college friend who moved his girlfriend Anna in during lockdown, and she's been with us ever since, with landlord's permission, and she pays her share of the bills. They're not Asians, which matters. Anna was initially nice, but started acting very weirdly a month after she moved in. 1. Telling significant other and I that we can practice our real religion, which apparently is Buddhism, not Christianity, even though significant other and I come from Christian families. She even bought incense, which gives me migraines, and a random Buddha statue. We politely explained to her that we're not Buddhists, but she continued to insist and promised that she didn't mind. 2. Telling significant other and I that we can speak our real language cause she overheard SO's family talking to us in a mix of English and Cantonese. I explained to her that I can't speak Cantonese, but my partner can, even though I can understand it. She was, for some reason, really disappointed in me and said that I was throwing my heritage away. Plot twist, my own father is only comfortable speaking English. And 3. Buying raw internal organs for my partner and I to cook, even though we don't eat those. I told her that we don't eat that, as it's not our thing, and she was again disappointed. She told us she read that there were lots of nice recipes, and maybe we haven't found the right one to remind us of home. My partner told her he's never eaten it ever in his life, and I've never liked it. She was really upset, but had to toss it because no one was going to eat it. Chinese New Year was when things got really weird. She started ordering decorations. Like, I wouldn't mind, but she had ordered hell notes, the ones burned for deceased ancestors. I immediately told her to stop pasting them all over the walls because they were weirding me out. She ordered banners with my significant others and my name on it. Some idiotization of our legal English names, but they were written on white banners, again, for deceased people. I told her to please take it down. She got upset again, but then ordered kabuki masks. I told her that those masks were not Chinese, and she just snapped. She started yelling at me that I should be helping her and not critiquing what she was doing. I told her 1, she never asked, 2, Chinese New Year is not a big deal to me, so I wasn't planning on decorating, but if she had asked, I would have helped. And 3, she never asked. I told her I don't understand her fixation with us. She said she wanted to surprise me and significant other, that we've been so colonized, we've forgotten our roots, and that we should be embracing our culture. I told her it was a nice gesture, but she needs to stop forcing stereotypes down our throats. She could have just asked, and she's not being woke when she's getting everything wrong. She burst into tears and brought in her boyfriend. He understood where I was coming from, but thought I could have been nicer. My partner stands by me, and now things have been tense. But I've been tolerating this for a while now, and it was getting on my nerves. I feel like everyone reading and listening to this knows that it's not woke to do this to someone. It's genuinely just being racist. That's what it is. They didn't talk to OP at any point to ask if they were cool with it. They just went full steam ordering the lowest hanging, stereotypical things associated with Chinese culture and shoved them in OP's face. You have every right to be telling her to her face that she isn't being woke, just disrespectful to your culture and the planet for wasting so many resources. Not the a-hole OP. Now in the comments, not the a-hole. Not woke? She's straight up racist. Ask her if she'd be buying beans and a sombrero if you were Puerto Rican. Seriously though, she needs a frank talk about what racism is. And edit, since it needs to be said, yes, I know sombreros are Mexican and not Puerto Rican. I said this because OP received a Japanese kabuki mask. Correct. If OP was Scottish, flatmate would be smuggling in a haggis and firing up the bagpipes. Not the a-hole, but flatmate is. An interesting comparison. It made me picture A, the odds of someone like this flatmate daring to try that twice to a typical Scot after the first one was stomped on, and B, such efforts ending in anything other than the flatmate quickly learning their lesson. I'd offer such a person a side of burnt haggis to enjoy with their breakfast, and then badly play the bagpipes at full volume in the kitchen to serenade them while they eat. Not the a-hole. Quote, so colonized we've forgotten our roots and should be embracing our culture. End quote. If someone said that to me, I'm of Indian heritage, born and raised in the UK, I'd tell them to F off. That's personal to me, and so not something that a relative stranger gets to judge about me. Posted by user throwaway098765, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my mum she should feel like a bad mum because she is one? I'm just going to add here, I'm going to talk about periods, so if that's bothersome, I'd suggest you not read. So, I, female 18, have 3 siblings, 17 male, 15 female, and 14 female. My mum has never been involved in our lives. She was around sometimes, and when my dad passed away 5 years ago, she was almost unbothered and continued to live her life. A year later, she married an old friend of my dad's. Together, they went on all sorts of trips, made plans with just them, and my siblings and I were at my grandparents' house almost every day. The few times my mum cared to be around us was when she wanted to take family pictures to post online. Because of my mum being absent, my sisters relied on me to teach them about their periods, and I gave them the talk as well. I have been discussed those things nearly 2 to 3 years ago and did my best to explain everything I knew at 16, and it seemed to have done the job. Since quarantine, my mum has been forced to stay at home, and she pouted about it the first few months. Around July last year, she found out my youngest sister was having periods, and she got annoyed that she wasn't the first to know. My sister has been having them for over 2 years. Lately, my mum's been trying to talk to my sisters and offer them motherly advice, as she calls it. She's had no success, but still pushes it almost daily. Last night, my sister was having a really off day and went to bed earlier than normal. My mum kept bothering her and telling her it was too early to sleep. It was 9 p.m. and my sister blew up at her and told her to basically piss off. She came downstairs where my brother and I were at, and she started going on about how she blamed my dad for making us choose him as the favorite parent, and if it weren't for him, she'd have a better relationship with us. That much ticked me off because she chose to live some child-free lifestyle rather than be around us. She kept going how she missed so many milestones in our lives, like my sister getting their first periods, or my brother getting his first girlfriend. Not once did she try to acknowledge that she was the main reason she missed those things. Here's where I feel like an a-hole. I blew up at her, completely lost it. I told her she needed not to blame my dead dad, and if she wanted to know the real reason she missed out, she should look in the mirror. She started crying and said I'm making her look like a bad mother. I ended it with she should feel like a bad mother because she is one. I have since felt awful for what I said, and I think I might have been too hard on her. Am I the a-hole? I don't think you went too hard on her. Really, the alternative here is that you say nothing at all, and she continues to talk about it to the detriment of the rest of your family. This may have been a particularly aggressive way to go about it, but it's not unwarranted. Like, you didn't lie about anything you said. If she wants to fix things from here on out, she can apologize to you and your siblings, and look forward to life achievements from today onward. Not burn bridges because she previously burnt bridges in the past, and is upset the bridges were burnt when she wants them not to have been. Weird reality that she's living in, that woman. Not the a-hole. Finding What I Want says, not the a-hole. You didn't make her look like a bad mother, she did. Latching on to say this, you've basically been parentified to be a replacement mum because your own checked out for pretty much the entirety of your life. This woman doesn't even fit the category of mother or mum. Egg donor would be more appropriate because she didn't even do the bare minimum as a parent. And this person has the goal to try to have a pity party lamenting the lack of a relationship she could never be bothered to build. And that line about family photos for social media brownie points is just disgusting. Again, you did nothing wrong. Not the a-hole. You were harsh, but it sounds true. She didn't know one of her daughters had already had her period for 2 years. If she really wants to take steps to repair relationships, the first step is to apologize. The second is to take steps to change, and the third is likely therapy. She'd also have to understand that simply saying you're a family again doesn't mean everything is fixed. Sorry for everything you've gone through. Sounds like you've been a stellar big sister though. OP's mother's willful ignorance means she deserves the hard truth. Time to make penance and eat some humble pie. Agreed. But people like OP's mum will never admit it. She will play the victim and blame anyone who speaks the truth. Maybe after all the kids move out and go no contact, she will see why. Probably not though. And not the a-hole. Your mother seems to have confused you and your siblings with dolls and thought that she could basically ignore you for years and that you'd still be waiting in the toy box when she decided that she wanted to play with you again. This is such a perfect analogy, and I think way more parents think this way than we'd like to imagine. Posted by user Sammy3033, titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my dad see my daughter after he disowned her? I'll make this short because I understandably hate talking about this. My wife, 38 female, and I, 32 male, have struggled with miscarriages. We've had 3, along with other health issues. We were desperate for a baby together. We've struggled for years, and thank goodness we were lucky to find out we were expecting a baby girl. My parents were thrilled, especially my dad. He bought clothes and toys and checked on us, and made sure that he was there to support us and his future granddaughter. Our daughter was born with a defect, Down syndrome. My wife and I knew that we had many challenges in the future, but that didn't make us less excited or unhappy. My dad, however, had an awful reaction after he found out. He kept bringing up that it was my wife's fault, that I should have married a younger woman, which was awful of him to say. He said that he didn't want to have anything to do with this. He distanced himself and stopped talking to us and visiting us and took the stuff back. So I cut contact. But my mum visited regularly. This happened years ago. My daughter is now 3. I'm in contact with my sister. She has a 1-year-old son that my dad spends time with and posts pictures of on social media and brings gifts to. I couldn't help but feel hurt and anger. He didn't even try to reach out, and it's been years. Recently, I heard my sister got in an argument with my dad. She moved out of state, and he didn't want her and her husband to move so that he could see his grandson. My mum would visit and talk about how frustrated and mad my dad is. Despite telling her to drop it, she mentioned that my dad wants us to visit so he could start spending time with his granddaughter. I asked her what granddaughter, because for 3 years, he had disowned her, and for her entire life, he's been acting like she doesn't exist. I can't remember the number of nights when I wake up to my wife crying because of what he said. Now my mum is calling me cruel for not agreeing to let him near my daughter. I argued with her, and I saw that others started reaching out, wanting to set up a meeting, but I refused to go. They're saying I'm robbing him of a relationship with my daughter, ignoring that it was a decision that he made 3 years ago. Am I the a-hole here? The issue is this has been causing everyone around me to point their fingers at me, saying I'm being bitter and preventing my dad from having his granddaughter in his life. You're not getting bitter, and you're not preventing his granddaughter from being in his life. He burnt that bridge 3 years ago and went no contact with you in favor of the other grandchild. You obviously know this is all crocodile tears on his end, and he's dragging this situation into the public eye when it really should be handled privately. The only reason he's making it public is because he knows the answer is no, and that if he gets enough people to attack you, he hopes that you'll change your mind and to let him in. And for what? What is this going to solve? He still doesn't like your daughter. People don't change like that in the span of 3 years, especially given the context of the situation. Him coming back into your life isn't going to magically change anything, and more than likely, he's going to do more damage to you and your family. I say keep him out and keep him there. He's more trouble than he's worth, and if you want a relationship with him, keep your child so far away from him. Not the a-hole. Now in the comments, Academic Nobody 4964 says, not the a-hole. He only wants a relationship with your daughter because his other grandchild is not available to him. Your daughter deserves so much better than that man. Tell your dad, mum, and anyone who agrees with them that they can F off because you won't subject your daughter to such a disgusting person. I'm so sorry you and your wife are going through this. You sound like excellent parents, and I wish your family the best. But stick with your guts, you don't owe that man anything. Not to mention, what happens when the other daughter moves back into the state? What happens if grandpa and grandma decide to move to the state where the other grandkid is? It's so much worse for children's development to have caregivers that move in and out of their lives than it is for them to lack the presence of that caregiver entirely. Not the a-hole, not by a long shot. This isn't bitterness, this is protecting his daughter. They don't even need to move back. What if the families go on vacation together? I bet you grandpa will spoil his favorite grandchild, and that little girl will have her heart broken because grandpa will blatantly favor the other child. Not the a-hole. He hasn't even apologized for his actions. He hasn't contacted you at all. For all you know, he still wants nothing to do with his granddaughter. Plus, if he mends things with your sister, will he drop your daughter once he has her son again? And OP replies, no, he hasn't reached out. And I keep asking myself questions, since he showed his love is conditional, and it might hurt my daughter to be exposed to this. It will hurt your daughter and your wife to be exposed to that horrible man. Not the a-hole. Your daughter is not a consolation prize for him now that his grandson has moved far away. He made his decision years ago. He does not have a granddaughter. I'd like to add that he didn't just make the decision 3 years ago. He made it every day since. Every time the mother visited without him, 1,000 times he made this choice. He shouldn't be texting or calling to apologize. He should be crawling on his hands and knees to beg forgiveness. G'day there guys, and that's the end of today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed it and were entertained by today's bloody good content. As always, I want to do a quick shout out and a thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your beautiful faces and names will be up on screen right now. Haven't forgot about you guys, sorry I was taking a little break there. So yeah, if you see yourself, give yourself a pat on the back. If you want to be on this screen, there's links down to the description below where you can sign up and help support the channel and all future projects that I'm going to be doing on this one. With all that said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. I'll see you in the next episode, and I do hope you enjoy it. Thank you.